AskReddit by Deneric. What are some red flags in an interview that reveals the job is toxic? The interviewer keeps telling you how fortunate you are to be there, like they are doing you a favor by giving you the job. I worked for a dude once and I overheard him down the hall talking to a client. The client had said something really nice about how pleasantly I worked the desk, but then my boss countered saying, well, she should be happy, she gets paid more than I do to sit around. Not only did he get 2.5x more than me for the hours worked, but there was so much more. Bro. I single-handedly updated all of your computers, learned how to do x-rays because you didn't feel like doing them anymore, shoveled when we got shit on by a blizzard, kept the place clean and fucking sanitized every single day, handled every not fun business call with no support, and listened to you abuse your poor sweet wife every day. I left that place as soon as I could. Dude was a sociopath. An interviewer tried to convince me to lowball myself after I said what I'd accept as a minimum salary, which was in their offer range from the posting. If we pay you more, you wouldn't get a bonus at the end of the year, and you'd be really upset when everyone else got one. What he was able to offer salary wise was $10k below their posted range. Happened to me while interviewing before my current job. Position was advertised at a certain range. I asked for right in the middle of that range, which I thought was fair since I had about 5 years more experience than the minimum they asked for. I'm officially certified, and it was for a position where I would have to create the entire department around it since it was new due to their growth. They offered the position at the minimum of the range they posted. Well, joke was on them. I interviewed a day before they made the offer with my current company and they offered $8k more right out the gate. When I tried to negotiate, the guy would not budge. Made the right choice and 2.5 years later still with my company and got a promotion, huge raise at the 2-year mark. Trying to get you to agree to start before they tell you what you'll be paid. I applied to a position out of state and was offered the position during the phone interview. When asked when I could start, I replied 2 weeks, but stated I couldn't accept without knowing how much it paid and having that in an official offer letter email. This dude lost his shit and said all huffy puffy, well, I mean, I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but I guess if you have to know I can get that for you. I said yes, I have to know. He said he'd call back. He never did. This actually happened to me. Interviewer, do you have any questions for us? Me, what is a challenge this department has recently faced? Interviewer, job security. Wow. Open and shut. I interviewed for one once where the manager spent the whole time asking me the usual questions in between rounds of berating some poor tech support employee on the phone about their payroll software. Also, anytime a hiring manager talks up the company's bonuses and raises to justify their low salary, you'd better believe you're not actually getting either. I left my last job back in mid-December. They told me my salary will be ready in the first week of January. Today's the 8th of January and an hour ago I called and they told me it'll be ready next week. Had an owner of a restaurant tell me, if you have a problem don't come to me cause you won't like how I fix it. Yeah, keep your job. One of the key functions of being a boss is helping the people under you solve a problem. What a douchebag. We expect our employees to be flexible regarding work schedules. Would you be available to work evenings, weekends, and occasionally on holidays with short notice according to our needs? Huh, that's funny. I usually say that I expect my employer to be flexible regarding my work schedule. D. If you hear the word sales mentioned anywhere in the job description, then sales will be your main job. Yup, I worked in a call center as technical support. They really forced us to make sales our priority. One time I spent 15 minutes in call to explain to some old lady, step by step, how to fix something on her phone. She was really thankful and I felt good about helping her. I end the call and my team leader comes over to chew me out because I wasted too much time on that call and didn't even try to sell her anything. That was the moment I realized, man, fuck this job. Once you realize that all upper management is family, this, or they're all from the same church or community. Nothing like being passed for a promotion by the new guy because he's with the higher ups every Sunday despite being totally incompetent at the actual job. Classic nepotism. When they have nothing good to say about the person whose position they are trying to fill. They aren't necessarily talking bad about the person, just little digs, almost passive aggressive. We'll start you at minimum and re-evaluate in a month. Which turns into a year. This may not be something that bothers others, but for me I see red flags when there is a steep, obvious, and unquestioned hierarchy separating levels of staff. I've worked in places where the lowest level staff had nearly no way to hold bad managers accountable. Led to some serious workplace bullying, harassment, and in at least one situation, sexual assault by a senior leader to his assistant. I don't want to work someplace where whole classes of employees are treated like shit, even if I'm personally not. If you pull into an employee parking area and there's a couple super nice cars and the rest all busted beaters, it is not a place where you will prosper. This team is a family. Get the fuck out as fast as you can. They won't care about your well-being on or off the clock. What did you earn at your previous occupation? We are not looking for someone with a 9-to-5 mentality. Here you will truly be a part of the corporation family. I remember it was kind of a breath of fresh air when I took my current job's interview. They said bluntly most people get turned off by the idea of a 9-to-5 nowadays, but that unfortunately is exactly what this is. You can make it 8-to-4 if you want, but none of us really want to get up that early if we don't have to, and you're also in that boat. Turned out to be an awesome job. Very laid back and realistic. Everyone is just trying to make sure that everyone else goes home on time. Sometimes we end up staying an hour late at most, but it never feels like a chore. Mostly because I know I could have left on time and no one would have said anything about it. I'm just doing it to help my team. They really are just friends at this point. I drove about 4 hours to an interview in another city. I told the person interviewing me that I was happy at my current job and wouldn't consider leaving just for the higher pay. He stood up and looked over the cubicle walls to make sure no one was around and whispered, "You don't want to work here." I passed on that job, but while in the new city I applied for another job where I have been happy for the last 25 plus years. That dude is a hero. What about X? It's confidential. What is your policy on Y? It's confidential. That's more red tape than red flag, but it depends on what the job is. When I was building aircraft for the government, I heard that a lot. It's a different story if you're interviewing at Wendy's. When I mentioned a company's dismal Glassdoor evaluations, they became so enraged that they ended the interview. Well, I suppose I escaped that danger. I brought up a company's poor Glassdoor reviews during an interview before too. They were all complaining about the owner of a small company. The folks interviewing me looked at each other and said that the owner could be difficult, but he's in Mexico most of the time so I'd never have to see him. I accepted the job because I was desperate, but sadly that was around the time the owner decided to stay around and get his hands in everything. I was only there for 8 months and I think 5 people left before I did because of him. Assigned seating in the lunchroom. Wow. Yep, that's not just a red flag. That's a crazy flag. If it seems like nobody has a personality, I always make it a point to make some small talk with receptionists or people interviewing me. If they shut it down immediately or just otherwise give off a "WTF are you talking to me" vibe. Nope. This is so important. The writing is on the wall. When the existing employees are shitty to each other, you can 100% expect them to be shitty to you. Once I had an interview where they silently gave me a questionnaire to fill out for 50 questions and just went to another room. The questions were very detailed and stupid, mostly about money. Is your goal to make money in our company? If the answer is yes, then you didn't pass. I left before I even finished answering this list. And then I found out that they register employees for an incredibly low official salary, promising to pay most of it at the end of the month. But they detain them for 6 months and don't give them out if the person quit. I'm glad I left. That sounds so very illegal. Second-hand info, but one of my co-workers told me an interviewer asked for her social media passwords to expedite their background check. She did not comply and bailed on the whole interview. It was some small-it firm that got government contracts. Don't recall the name and amp. I'm not going to guess because I don't want to smear the wrong employer. I only remember the story because we were all shocked at the audacity. Can I have your Reddit password to verify this? Anywhere that makes you feel it is your privilege to work there, main example being any form of internship or unpaid labor. Unless you're in college, don't ever take internships. All those months you're working for free you could be getting paid somewhere else. We work hard, play hard. OT is basically infinite, and you can work it as much as you want. We have a high turnover rate cause people just stop coming to work. Work hard, play hard is code for this job had driven everyone in the department to become alcoholics. We treat everyone here as family. And X200B. Yeah, a foster family that only does the bare minimum to keep you employed. Here's some pizza as appreciation for all your hard work. How about a FKKN raise, bitch? Hardly any interviewing and an offer on the spot equals they're desperate and there's high turnover. It's an older established company, but everyone working there is young new aside from the higher ups. Also, if you ask what's the best part about working there and they address things like oh it's a great location or we get free lunch instead of saying what they like about the actual job or company. I once had a job interview where I asked the two interviewers what they liked about working there. They looked at each other in horror and laughed. No thanks. If you have to pay any amount of money in order to work for them it is a scam and stay away. Refusing to say why the job is open. You have a right to know what you're walking into. The job is open because the last guy was killed at work. Residents from CA, CO, DC, NIC, and WA need not apply. They have salary transparency laws so the company is going to lowball you big time. I thought I saw something like that on Amazon. They don't explain their business clearly. Neither do they give you good clarity on your role. I once had an interview with a small company. The director who took my interview was being very vague about what they do.